All right, thanks for tuning everybody to a live stream on Dodgers Digest every Friday morning. We're talking Dodger baseball. Just want to make sure we're live. I'm going to head over to the chat here to see everybody that's joining on. Thanks for joining on, everybody. Let me go back here to the chat and see how everybody's doing. Hopefully, everybody's having a good Friday today. It's of course Valentine's Day today. Of course, not that anything has. Not that has to do anything to do with baseball, but let me head over to the live stream. Just gotta see who's joining on. Thanks everybody who's joining on though to the channel. I want to thank everybody for their support, and thanks everybody for supporting Dodger baseball, for supporting Dodgers Digest, and so we're obviously world champions, and we're a team that's going to be, favored, as this came up here on the screen. Kike Hernandez decided to put that up there. We're, of course, very excited to have him back on the team, and, we're pumped up, right? It's going to be a crazy 2025, as it seems like I'm having a hard time getting the chat here open, but let me try that again. Okay, there we are. Okay. So we're, of course, going to be talking about all about Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw is back on the Dodgers. He re-signed with the team, as we know, this week. It was, speculated over the last few months that this was going to happen. It doesn't come as a surprise, of course, that, Clayton Kershaw is back, right? I mean, Clayton Kershaw has spent his entire career with the Dodgers, right? His entire career. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's one of the legends of Dodger baseball, and he's going to be, going to spend the rest of his career with the Dodgers, right? I mean, I think that confirms it with his latest signing. It's going to confirm that he is going to spend the rest of his career with the Dodgers, right? The Dodgers are going to keep him. They decided to sign him to a one-year deal. I believe it was $7.5 million was the amount that he's going to get. And going to, of course, gain some incentives as well. But $7.5 million is what Clayton Kershaw is going to be getting. And you can't be too surprised. Me and Brad J have covered this on the channel the last few days on, exactly what this means for the Dodgers. Some people agree with it, some people don't. I want to hear what you guys think. What do you guys think about, Clayton Kershaw, staying with the Dodgers deciding to, re-sign him and bring him back, despite him having so many injury concerns last year, right? I mean, that's what happened last year. Last year, Clayton Kershaw had a lot of injury problems, a lot of issues, and that's exactly what happened last year. Last year was a difficult year for Clayton Kershaw, only pitching in 7 games. A 2024 season that didn't go as he wanted. Wasn't even part of the team when they went to the playoffs, right? He was already on the shelf, already basically out for the season when the playoffs kicked off. Late in the season, right? He wasn't part of that run, and it was a rough end to the year for him, right? But at the same time, he did get a World Series ring, which is something he's always going to remember. His second World Series championship with the Dodgers. But it was definitely a rough year, to say the least. So, what do you guys think? You guys think the Dodgers made the right move to bring back Clayton Kershaw? How is he going to really help the team next year, right? And, let's just start off with, he's going to be out to start off the year, right? I mean, I believe he's going to be out till June, July. Of course, that off-season surgery, and is going to be out for the first few months of the year. Kind of similar to what we saw in 2024, right? Very similar to that. He's going to be out to start off the year. And once again, that's going to be the same deal again. You're going to be out to start off the year. And, it's going to be another rough year to begin the 2025 season. I mean, that's definitely a going to be once again the beginning of the 25 season. Kershaw injured, so how is that going to help the team to start off the year, right? So I think it's going to be similar. If you ask me, I'm on the fence, of course, with this signing. I think it's I would if I was the Dodgers, I would have considered moving on from Clayton Kershaw, like I talked about in the videos a few days ago. I think the Dodgers had the opportunity to kind of move on from him now, and they decided not to, which was a bit surprising because I think it was a good time to do it, considering last year and how things went for him and all that. So I don't know. I think the Dodgers don't really need Clayton Kershaw, right? Do the Dodgers really need Clayton Kershaw, right? Because it comes back to the same thing last year. Would the Dodgers, went to the World Series? Would they have won the World Series if Clayton Kershaw was pitching, right? I mean, I think that's a fair point that everybody should kind of wonder. As I drink my coffee here, 9 a.m. here, of course, on the West Coast. For those of you on the East Coast, it's already noon. For those of you that are in Europe, it's, like 5 p.m. in England, 6 p.m. if you're like in Germany or like Poland or all that. But yeah, thanks to everybody who's watching from around the world. We was it last week? Brad J pulled up the stats from the channel, and we saw how there's people watching us like all over all over not just this continent, but all over the world, right? Which is pretty awesome, right? We got people in Japan and in Mexico, of course, and United States. We got people everywhere watching Dodgers Digest. It just shows you the Dodgers, like I was telling a friend of mine the other day, they're the biggest baseball team in the world, right? They have to be the biggest baseball team in the world. I mean, we have already surpassed the Yankees in terms of popularity right now, because the Yankees, of course, had the biggest choke job in World Series history, and the Dodgers took advantage of that, right? So the popularity is at an all-time high, and it's very awesome to see people supporting the Dodgers from everywhere. And we got an awesome fan base, right? This channel is definitely blown up for sure, and it's gonna be super awesome time to be a Dodger fan, and it's great. The Dodgers are back, 2025. Think about it, spring training baseball is gonna be in less than a week. In less than a week, spring training baseball is gonna be back. It's going to be, the Dodgers are going to be playing, next Thursday? Next Thursday, the Dodgers are going to be back, and it's going to be, once again, the Dodgers playing baseball, and I think everybody's going to be excited to watch that. But yeah, going back to Clayton Kershaw, which is kind of where we were talking about, Clayton Kershaw is back on the team. He is going to be, once again, in 2025, going to be with the Dodgers, starting off the year on the disabled list, or injured list, I should say, the IL, and it's going to be another rough year. So, how much did Kershaw really contribute last year to help the Dodgers win? I don't think he contributed that much. Sure, he was the best pitcher for the Dodgers for a bit of a period of time there when the Dodgers were completely shorthanded, and I guess he helped the team out there in the middle of the regular season. But would have Kershaw really done that in the playoffs, right? I mean, would have Kershaw really done that once the playoff season started? I mean, I think it's difficult to say. I think it's very, I think it's hard to know that. I think it would have been, Kershaw would have not been 100% if he would have been pitching in the playoffs. I mean, I think he would have not been 100%. I think we would have probably seen the similar Kershaw that we saw back in 2023 when the playoffs started, when, of course, he clearly was injured and he had one of the worst starts of his career against the D-backs. We could have saw that similar Kershaw when the playoffs started, right? We could have saw that similar Kershaw when the playoffs started if he had not been at 100%, right? And most likely he wasn't going to be at 100%, right? And I think it was the right move. Obviously wasn't there, and the Dodgers had other people, on the mound, and it paid off, right? I mean, I really think the Dodgers would have not made the World Series if Clayton Kershaw would have been starting and playing. I don't know what you guys think, but I really think it would have been a difficult challenge for him to be pitching in the playoffs, and I don't know if he would have really helped the team out, right? I mean, I think it would have been a difficult time for him, not being 100%, and it just would have been a rough year, right? It would have been rough playoffs for Clayton Kershaw, and wouldn't have been good. So this year, how will Kershaw get back into pitching shape, right? I think that's what I think everybody has to kind of wonder. How will Clayton Kershaw get back into shape? How is he what's gonna happen? What kind of Kershaw are we gonna see when the playoffs, when he comes back, mid-season? What kind of Kershaw are we gonna see, right? Because he's getting old. He's getting older. I think the big focus of Clayton Kershaw, of course, now is the 3,000 strikeout mark, which is going to be pretty awesome to see him do it. But I don't know. I think 18 years in the league, it's hard to depend on somebody anymore. At a level that think about before Clayton Kershaw. Think about like maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Clayton Kershaw was the best pitcher on the Dodgers, and maybe probably the best pitcher in baseball. Right? I mean, let's be honest. 10, 12 years ago, this guy was the ace on the Dodgers. He was the top pitcher in all of baseball. And that was it was a different situation back then. A completely different situation, right? And now it's that's no longer there, right? It's just not there. And he's obviously on a decline. I think it's definitely rough to see. It's sad to see how the team, how Kershaw has declined the last few years, but I think it has a lot to do with the injuries, right? A lot to do with the way the injuries have played Kershaw and how it's affected him. And I think that's the main reason why Kershaw is not the same as he was before. I mean, it's clearly the injuries. It's clearly, a pitcher that has a decline in his velocity, a decline in a lot of things, right? I mean, that's been what Clayton Kershaw's been dealing with, and for some people, you would say it's time for Clayton Kershaw to retire, right, and move into more of a advisement role, more of a just a mentoring role for the younger guys, because the Dodgers have so many pitchers this year. They have a stacked rotation, right? They got all these pitchers now. Sasaki, Yamamoto, they got they got Tyler Glass now, and then of course the big pickup, Blake Snell, right? I mean, they got so many pitchers now that it's just, where does Kershaw really fit in? I mean, where does he fit in? What do you guys think? Where does Clayton Kershaw really fit in with this team, right? I mean, that's the big thing here. Where does he actually fit in? I mean, I think it's kind of it's kind of hard to know exactly, where does Kershaw really fit in? I mean, I think it's kind of a difficult situation for him, and it's going to be a long year, right? It's going to be something that the Dodgers are going to have to figure out as time goes along. And where does he fit in? I mean, I think that's going to be the big question mark for the Dodgers, right? It's going to be something that the Dodgers are going to have to figure out. Where does he fit in? Where does Clayton Kershaw fit in with the team as we move along in the 2025 season? Want to hear from everybody. Comment on the chat. Where does Clayton Kershaw fit in the 2025 season with the stack rotation that this team has? Where do you think Clayton Kershaw fits in? I mean, I think that's something that's a fair point for the Dodgers and for fans alike to try to figure out where does this star pitcher fit in. The Dodgers have so many good pitchers this year that it's kind of like a tough situation, right? For the Dodgers, right? I think it's a very difficult situation for Dave Roberts and the front office to kind of fit all these pitchers in. 6-man rotation has been spoken about. You have Shohei Ohtani coming back as well. So just a lot of different pieces that the Dodgers are going to have to put together is, today you guys have been pretty quiet. Chat's been pretty empty today. So comment below. You guys are usually very interactive. But I know maybe today everybody's really busy with Valentine's Day. But comment below. What do you guys think with the Dodgers? Right? What do you guys what's your what do you guys think with Clayton Kershaw? Right? That's the question that I'm posing to everybody today. So what do you guys think? Just trying to pull up here the chat. All right, you guys are very quiet today. What did you guys? Of course, the Dodgers TV schedule came out yesterday as well, right? Looking at the Sportsnet LA schedule, trying to see all the national TV games and the which games are going to be televised and all that. So that came out, and of course, no surprise, the Dodgers have a lot of national TV games. That comes as no surprise, and can't be shocked with that, right? Dodgers going to be on national TV a lot with, the World Series championship, right? With the World Series championship, comes as no surprise, right? So that comes as no surprise. Just getting my coffee here. Friday morning, Valentine's Day. Hopefully you have a Valentine's Day date, of course, planned with the special significant other. It's definitely, hopefully you're staying, of course, dry as well. We've had a lot of rain the last few days. It's been rough, right? That rough weather. All right, guys, I'm going to be probably closing this stream out pretty soon because today, you guys, there's basically nobody. Oh, we got a comment here. All right. My says, Glad re-signed. He's the best pitcher, and he's regarded as such according to all sports networks. He's human, and he will get injured. He's a heart of the Dodgers. Yeah, so my mind thinks, it's obviously age is something that, eventually you're going to get hurt, and that's a given, right? I mean, that's how everybody has, your age definitely gets up to you, right? But to say, he's the best pitcher right now, I don't think he is. He's not the best pitcher of all time, and for some, he's one of the best pitchers of all time for the Dodgers. But to say he's the best pitcher, I disagree, right? David says Dodger for life. All right, keep Kershaw, for the rest. I assume you mean keep Kershaw for life, right? Beard says packing out of town. I think Kershaw has huge coaching opportunities and definitely mentorship to the young guns and even new additions. Any pitcher in the past, present, and future will dream to be on the roster with a great one. Yeah, I mean, I think Kershaw is going to be a great coach, right? I mean, because he's got so much knowledge of the game. His knowledge is one of the it's incredible, right? I mean, it's up there with one of the best, for sure, right? It's got a lot of knowledge, and I think he's going to be able to contribute that, of course, to whenever he decides to become a coach, right? I mean, I think that's going to be something that the Dodgers are going to really benefit from, or wherever he goes. I think he's going to be a coach when he becomes a coach. He's going to go with the Dodgers, right? I mean, I don't think he'll go coach like some other team, right? I think when he retires, he's going to stay with the Dodger organization. As long as he wants to stay in baseball, he's going to have probably a place with the Dodgers organization, right? Either in the front office. I don't think front office right away. I think he'd be more suited to be, a somebody that's coaching the pitchers, right? That's getting the young players situated in baseball, and I think that's where Kershaw will fit right in. So we're going to be doing this live stream every Friday morning during the off season, 9 a.m. Pacific. So it's going to be pretty fun here on the channel. It's usually a more interactive live stream, right? Usually we're getting like tons of comments, but today it's definitely been quiet. So I guess it has to do with the the topic of Kershaw. What do you guys want to talk about? There's definitely not a lot of interaction here, so it makes, of course, the live stream a lot better when you guys are all commenting and asking questions. Usually I can't even get to all the questions, but today it's definitely been really, really dead today here on the channel. So my says our pitchers look up to Clayton and they want to pitch with him. The front office knows it, and that's why they wanted him to play this year. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the pitchers look up to Clayton Kershaw. I think that's a fair point. I think they definitely look up to him, and that's for sure. That's a very good point. The Dodgers, pitchers look up to Clayton Kershaw, and having him on the team, it's a good example for all the guys, right? Go back to the chat here. Looks like my cursor is stuck, but hold on. Bird Flu says, so who is our ace right now? Yeah, that's a good question. So who is our ace right now? Well, I mean, let's look at what the Dodgers are going to be doing in Japan just in a month, right? I mean, the Dodgers recently announced that, of course, Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki are going to be the starting. Roki Sasaki, imagine making his major league debut against the Chicago Cubs in Japan. Pretty wild. But Sasaki and Yamamoto are going to be starting for the Dodgers. So I think that signifies that Yamamoto is the Dodgers ace. I think Yamamoto has earned that spot as a Dodgers ace. He's a world champion. He was basically the ace for the Dodgers during the playoffs last year, along with Jack Flaherty. But I would say Yamamoto was technically the ace for the Dodgers in that playoff run. So Yamamoto for me is the Dodgers ace. Sure, Blake Snell has the potential to take that role. I don't know about Tyler Glasnow, because Tyler Glasnow has had way too many injuries. And even if the Dodgers gave him that role, he probably would not make it through the whole year. So Blake Snell and Yoshinobu Yamamoto are the two aces, and probably Yoshinobu Yamamoto is the ace right now. And that's only because the Dodgers won the World Series behind Yamamoto, right? He was the key factor for the Dodgers to win the World Series, and I think that's why Yamamoto is the ace, right? I think he's earned that role, and I think that's clearly where it's at right now. I think he's the ace, and Blake Snell, is going to be that number 2, right? I think he is number 2. Then you got Glasnow, number 3, and Sasaki, number 4. And then, you go down the line, Ohtani, and then, probably Kershaw. And yeah, I mean, there's just, the Dodgers have so many pitchers this year that it's just going to be very difficult to kind of place everybody on this team, right? So, looks like now we're getting some more comments. Beard says, we have no ace. Snell is the ace. My says, Yoshi's ace. Yeah, I think, Snell is a brand new pitcher. To put him as the Dodgers ace would be, I mean, sure, Snell, like I said, he would be the ace on any other ball club, but he's joining a ball club that just won the World Series, right? And they want it behind Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So, Yamamoto is the ace. He earned it. I mean, kind of crazy to say, in his rookie year as a Major League Baseball player, he was the ace on a World Series winning team. That's what Yamamoto did last year. And he would have pitched Game 6 of that World Series against the Yankees. Let's not forget that. He would have been the guy to close out the World Series at home. So I think he's the ace. And Snell, we'll see how the season goes, right? I mean, if Yamamoto has a rough year, gets injured, Snell's going to step right in. If he's healthy, he's going to be the ace for the Dodgers. He'll be pitching Game 1 of the NLDS if Yamamoto's not available, right? I mean, come on. Who else are they going to put? Blake Snell would be pitching Game 1 of the NLDS if Yamamoto's not available. It's a good question there, Bird Flu. But yeah, that's the chat. I mean, the live stream is definitely better when everybody is participating, commenting. Where are you guys watching us from? Let me know where you're. We got people from all over the world watching us. So comment below where you're watching us from. The ones who are watching this live stream, make sure to like the video, share the video, subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. I'm doing this every Friday morning here on the Dodgers Digest live stream channel. And then, of course, we're going to be doing a lot of live streams once the games start as well. Last week before Dodger baseball starts, right? Because next week we're going to have spring training baseball starting on Thursday, right? Thursday's the first spring training game. I wanted to pull up exactly who are the Dodgers playing on that spring training game. Who are they playing on that spring training game? Let's pull that up. Dodgers will be playing Chicago Cubs next Thursday at noon Pacific time from Arizona. So, the return of Dodgers spring training baseball. You always have those, daytime, the start times, of course, are always early during spring training, right? Especially in the beginning half, right? You have the day games in Arizona. It's always nice to go to Arizona this time of year. It's like perfect, right? It's like 72 degrees, 73 in February. They have the best winters out in the desert. So definitely March, though, it's going to get hot. When I went to Camelback Ranch, was it 2 years ago? It was middle of March. It was like 85 degrees, I remember. It was hot. I went to go see the Dodgers play, I believe the White Sox. I believe both teams that, of course, they're at Camelback Ranch. I think they both played each other. And I was at that game a couple years back. See what else we got. Here it says, can't wait season, but I got earbuds in. It's all right, man. Packing, all right. And Donald says, Kershaw, like Koufax, will be better suited as a mentor during spring training. Let him raise his kids in Texas. Yeah, I mean, I would say, he's going to be a mentor for the Dodgers. Of course, to start off the year. It's going to be, he's injured, right? He can't play, so that's what he's going to be doing. Beard says in Wyoming, headed to ice fish. Awesome. Wyoming. Been through there a few times. I went through Wyoming driving from Denver to Mount Rushmore. Denver to Mount Rushmore. So we went through, went up North Colorado, up through Cheyenne, up through Wyoming into South Dakota. So, been through Wyoming. Definitely very cold out there right now. It's freezing in that part of the country. See, I used to live in Minnesota. I used to be on the radio out in Minnesota, so I know all about, the cold weather. I know about the snow. I know about how it is out there. So for those of you that live in those, snowy areas, which we know, Dodger fans, you never know, could relocate anywhere in the world. So I know I know what you're going with, I know what you're dealing with right now, in this time of the year, right? So it's definitely rough because I used to live out there, and it was definitely a challenge to say the least. Especially being a California guy, born and raised, to go out there. See the chat here. See if anybody else commented. Yeah, so like I said, if you guys are Dodger fans, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to share this. We're gonna be doing live streams. When the games start. Probably gonna be doing a lot of watch-alongs too. That will be fun. We'll be watching the game and basically giving you the play-by-play and everything that's going on with the game. I think it's gonna be cool to use our watch-along. A few reasons, right? Let's say you don't have access to Sportsnet LA, you don't have cable this year. You can always go to our channel and listen to the game, right? Or if you're driving and you don't have a radio in your car, because as we know, a lot of cars don't have AM radios anymore, you can always plug your phone, Bluetooth to your car and listen to the game. So that's what we're going to be doing in this upcoming season. So, with the way radio's going, I think a lot of people are going to be using YouTube to listen to the games and stay up to date if you're not watching the game. Or if you want to watch the game and watch me on the side, although there'll probably be a bit of a delay, just a heads up. Believe there'll be, it's going to be about maybe 20 seconds, 30-second delay, maybe even a minute, because I believe there is a bit of a delay with these live streams. So, but it'd be good if you're not watching the game to watch us, because That way you know what's going on. So, yeah. So we're doing this 1 hour live stream every Friday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific. I want to thank everybody who's joining on. Although we do have less people watching today, a lot less people watching today than other previous live streams. Today was, I guess today wasn't a good day, right? Valentine's Day. A lot of people are busy buying flowers and teddy bears and all that kind of stuff, right? Getting ready for maybe making reservations if you're going out for Valentine's. Or maybe you're staying in, right? If you're staying in, it's kind of a rough sports day, for sure, because I'm a big sports guy, right? I'm watching sports all the time. And today is definitely a rough day if you're a sports fan. There's not much going on. There's like no NBA. There's no NHL either. Both of them are technically on their breaks. The NHL has, of course, the Four Nations face-off. I don't know if you guys are hockey fans, but it's been some awesome games. Like Wednesday, Canada and Finland played, and that was an awesome game. Digest Media, we're a Canadian company, and I'm sure the guys were watching that game because Canada, of course, defeated Sweden in overtime after blowing the lead. It was wild. It was fun. And then yesterday, the United States, of course, got the dub against Finland. So if you're a hockey fan, tune in. The USA-Canada game is tomorrow, 5 o'clock, so on ABC. So make sure to check that game out. That's going to be a super fun game tomorrow. And then all-star game for the NBA. We had Luka Doncic playing his first game for the Lakers this week. That was super fun, right? Luka Doncic playing for the Lakers finally. After starting off the year, or starting off his Lakers 10-year injured, right? Well, he's back now. Back at 1-1, right? Their record with Luka, right? Tough, good win the first one, and then they kind of had a bad game the second game. But yeah, definitely a rough sports day because there's not much going on. They had the Super Bowl last week. That was the worst Super Bowl ever. Come on, it was the worst Super Bowl ever. I mean, it was a total blowout. It was awful to watch. It was one of the worst games I've ever seen. And even the halftime, come on, the halftime wasn't that good either. I want to see some AC/DC Metallica. Come on, next year, Super Bowl's in the Bay Area. They got to put Metallica in. Got to have Metallica. Metallica would be nuts. Bearded says Yoshi has earned the ace badge of an honor well. Yeah, I mean that's what I was saying. Yoshi has earned that. He's earned it. He's the ace of the Dodgers, right? And he earned it because he was part of the team that won the World Series last year. That's why he earned it. He was one of the main factors of the Dodgers winning the World Series with his pitching. A team that was very shorthanded last year. Very shorthanded, right? They had Jack Flaherty, Walker Buehler, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Those are the three, basically starting pitchers they had to try to win the World Series. It's kind of crazy to say that that's how they won the World Series, but it just shows you how good the bullpen was and how good the offense was. One of the best offensive outputs in baseball history last year during the playoffs, with basically everybody getting hot at different times. And it's just been it's never been seen before. But the Dodgers, for some, have the best lineup in baseball history in terms of the lineup they got. Betts, Freeman, Ohtani, Teoscar Hernández, all these guys, all these all-stars. One of the best lineups ever. So they were able to make up for the bad pitching by just scoring. That's it. That's what they did. And then, of course, the bullpen, too. The bullpen was lights out. They won that series against the Padres. You know the story. It's gonna be discussed for years and years how the Dodgers won last year because it's insane. We had okay. So yeah, like I said, guys, you guys are not commenting too much today. I know a lot of you are probably busy, but I'll probably be closing this thing out pretty soon. Unless you guys want me to start talking other sports, right? It's definitely a rough time during this time of year to be doing Dodger talk, right? Because the Dodgers are not playing. Free agency is coming to an end. The roster is kind of set up already. It's getting set up basically as the days go on. And there's not a lot going on right now with the Dodgers, right? There just isn't a lot going on because the Dodgers are not. See, once the Dodgers start playing, we're going to have like so much stuff to talk about, right? Because the Dodgers are having games every day, and it's going to be a lot easier. But right now, it's definitely a lot of people are not thinking about Dodger baseball right now, right? You guys have your eyes on other sports and Valentine's Day. Like February is always a rough month for baseball. It's not really like think about like November and December. There's so much stuff going on with free agency, so it's like insane, right? We had so much content, but definitely the last few weeks have gotten pretty dry, especially after the Dodgers re-signed Teoscar Hernández and of course signed Kershaw. Things have definitely settled down on the Dodger front in terms of rumors and all the stories, right? We had a lot of cool rumors though leading up to that, right? Because we had a lot of stuff to talk about. So those are definitely fun times. Got trying to see the chat here. Yep, got nothing going on. Well, guys, I'm gonna close this live stream out, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in today.